Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
You hear a lot about the calculation of sentences and the calculation of numbers in the Quran to predict events. How valid is this? And what are the benefits of it, if there are any, or the harms of it?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wa rasulullah. There is something people say, الإعجاز العددي في القرآن, like the miraculous of numbers in the Quran.
Right.
And they refer to this or refers to a concept. They said, we look at some number of repetitions, words mentioned, and we find it to be very miraculous, For example, the number of time Al-Jannah mentioned is equal to the number of time Hellfire mentioned, which I don't know why it's miraculous, but because we should think about Al-Jannah even more, or, who said that have to be in the same level. But in any case, sometimes they say the number of day, the word day, yom,
365,
365 mentioned in the Quran. And the word shahr, was mentioned 12 times in the Quran. And the days are 365, and the month are 12 months. So they said that's a miracle, stuff like that. I want to say, first of all, this methodology, there is no doubt Al-Quran is a miracle from many, many aspects. There's no doubt about it. The Quran is perfect, okay? From all aspects, from all ends. The second thing is area, or that perspective of number of repetition, number of letters, number of words. So they said Al-Quran made of that number of words and number of letters. If you take half of it, you will become exactly in the middle of the Quran. Stuff like that they make up. Is this methodology or this way something that the Prophet ﷺ spoke of? No. I mean, they know that the year is 12 months. Did the Prophet ﷺ ever told the companion, by the way, did you notice that there is a 12th time the word month was mentioned? No. Did the companions ever use this methodology to prove that, the miraculous of the Quran, the miraculous nature of the Quran? No. Do the scholars for 800-900 years or ever use this for hundreds of years and multi-generations, centuries? No. This is very recently people start using it. And in my opinion, it became so attractive to a lot of people in modern days because in modern days we became so artificial. We like cool artificial things. We don't like substance. You know what's the miraculous of the Quran is the substance. It's what stands for. It's the moral concept. It's the moral system that puts.
Yeah.
The way to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Not the superficial things.
You know what? Al-Quran wants you to reflect, to think deep about your relationship with Allah. Not to count how many letters in the sentence. That's a mechanical thing. That's a computer generating
this
thing.
Person who reads the Quran, how is he just focusing on counting? Can't he just read the Quran and understand?
That's why it's in modern days a lot. But you know what? It's really scary for me when somebody who said, oh, mashallah, and he moved so and impressed so much by, it was mentioned 12 times the word shahr. But you know what? Nothing moved him when he read the Quran, and Quran talk about how this life is so deceiving and so people deluded by the time and the time running, and all these ayat that speak about real concept, real issues. You know what? That doesn't really matter much. What matter is just the artificial thing. And that's because we became very shallow in nature in the modern days, unfortunately. We like this stuff, the cool stuff, but not substance. And that's for me one of the biggest, one of the problems that we have in modern days, and why this has become more popular. Another thing also, a lot of people don't have ilm, don't have knowledge. So they want to be popular. So they bring strange things, weird things.
Yes,
that became them popular because unfortunately people like, weird stuff. And that's, what, I understand this if you want to have a famous cooking show, but not a tafsir, not a class in tafsir. Okay, you can play this game with, with sports, with cooking, with, jokes and stuff like that. But don't bring this attitude, this lifestyle, this way of life, and you basically drag the religion into it.
Yeah.
Because you lose respect for the religion. And that's exactly what happened here. Many of these claims are not accurate. are not correct.
Yeah, they're
Like, for example, the 360 thing.
manipulation.
It's manipulation to the verb. So 360, is it true that the word yom, day, was mentioned 365 or 360? No. 365? No. Because, for example, they calculate yom, yawman, al-yawm, طيب, but they didn't calculate yawmuhum, yawm, يعني
Right,
yawmukum.
right, yeah,
Why did you pick
Ayyam
one
Allah.
format
Right.
and not this format?
right.
They play a game. They just want, you know what, they have something in their mind and they start looking to prove it in the Quran. It's not like look in the Quran then prove. I'm not saying all of them like that, but there is a very big percentage of these claims are like that. Actually, majority of them like that.
You know, you raised a point. I remember about 10 years ago, you said a lot of people, you mentioned that, a lot of people are so, attracted to weird stuff and strange stuff because real knowledge requires effort. It requires that you go
They don't want.
you go and strive and learn and be humble and sit down with scholars and learn. But this is easy to, obtain and nobody verify this, nobody checks it, and you get the hype of the moment and now you're a scholar.
Yeah, that doesn't really build iman, does not establish taqwa. That doesn't make, that's why the early generation didn't care about.
Yeah.
If there is any good in it, believe me, it will be addressed by the scholar. So in any case, as I said, many of these are also, sometimes even you told me once, like people, when they don't find what they want, they said, let's try another qira'ah. They're just playing games, just to find a way to prove their point.
Exactly.
And believe me, majority of the thing that stuff that they say are not correct or not accurate. Like the 360, they said, for example, it was Dadu Tis'a. They said 360, that's
300, you mean 300 years?
360, the verse related to the people of Al-Kahf.
Yes, 300.
So they said 360, referring to the lunar calendar. The calendar.
The Gregorian calendar.
And the
lunar
calendar. Okay? And obviously this is completely wrong because the Quran never referred to anything other than the lunar calendar. Never used that. So they actually...
في كهفهم 300 سنين.
Yeah, it was Dadu Tis'a.
300, yeah.
Yeah. So, 300, sorry.
Right.
So what I'm saying here is it's so dangerous to say about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala things without ilm. It's one of the major sin in Islam.
Yeah.
وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ.
One of the ways of the shaitan.
Yeah, this is lie. And you say Allah intend this or Allah meant this, or that's very dangerous. And it became from tahrif al-Quran. And that's something that we should be, tahrif al-Quran, yani changing and playing the meaning of the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, and I advise people to stick to the focus on the essence and what is the Quran is intended to be, the message of the Quran.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh.